Hey everyone, and welcome back to Greek mythology. In this episode, we're gonna be covering a lot of ground because this is Greek mythology, Cronus, and the Age of Titans, Rise of the Olympians. Let's do it. Alright, so where are we? The last episode we ended with Zeus being born and then escaping from Tartarus with the help of Gaia. And now he goes up to Mount Olympus, where the gods live. And in that episode I mentioned that there was a 5-year gap between Zeus and his next brother or sister. So when Zeus got up to Olympus, the other gods were like, "Yo, what are you doing here?" And he was like, "I'm here to take over." And they're like, "Okay, bro, you're the youngest one. Like, how can you do that?" And Zeus was like, "Well, my dad, Cronus, gave me this scythe, which is really sharp. And if I throw this around the cosmos, then everything will crumble. And I can just absorb all of the power and become supreme ruler of the cosmos." And they're like, "Ooh, that sounds cool. Do it." So Zeus took out his sickle and threw it across the cosmos and started that's a war between the new gods, the Olympians, and the old gods, the Titans. Now, before the war gets going, let's talk about Cronus. Cronus was the leader of the Titans, but who were the Titans in general? Well, Cronus was actually originally named Cronus, but then he changed it to Cronus when he deposed his father Uranus. In general, though, the Titans were the first generation of gods. They lived during the Golden Age, and they were kind of like the ideal beings. They were neither immortal nor mortal. They had great wisdom. They were incredibly powerful. There were only a few flaws in their perfection, but we'll get to those later. And anyway, Cronus became king of the cosmos by castrating his father and taking his place. Cronus married his sister Rhea, who would bear him 6 children. 6 children who would each be more powerful than he was. This is another flaw in the Titans. They didn't know about prophecy, and so they didn't heed any warnings. Otherwise, they would have known that these children were fated to overthrow them. But instead, they just saw that they were getting a bunch of kids, and that was fine. The first child was Oceanus, god of the world-encircling river. He was probably the most powerful Titan after Cronus. Then there was Titaness, who became a sea goddess. Then came the 3 Cyclopes, Brontes, Sterubs, and Arges. And finally the 3 Hecatoncias, one of whom I think we've mentioned before. Now, Cronus was warned by his mother, Gaia, that when the younger gods came along, they would be much more powerful than the Titans. She said that their strength and wisdom would far exceed even that of their fathers, and she urged him to destroy them. So Cronus decided to eat his first 5 children, starting with Oceanus, because the eldest usually got the most power. And he did this right after they were born, just guzzling them down. And Rhea was not having it. She was like, "What are you doing? You're killing our children." And he was like, "You're supposed to go into labor 5 times. You haven't done that yet. I'm hungry." And she was like, "No, no, no. I'm done having kids. No more." And then Cronus was like, "Ugh, Fine, I guess I'll just eat the last one too. So he ate Zeus. However, Rhea saved Zeus. After he was born, she wrapped him in swaddling clothes and took him to a cave in a mountain called She also put a rock in his place in the cradle, so Cronus would unknow that anything had been there at all. And then she went to Cronus and was like, "Look, your baby boy is right here. He's all yours." And Cronus was like, "Sweet, I'm gonna eat him." And then Rhea ran away crying. And Cronus was like, "Wait, where are you going?" And she was like, "I'm off to find my son. He's gonna be great and you're gonna die." And she disappeared. Now, Cronus wasn't actually fond of eating his children. It was something he had to do. Gaia told him that if he didn't eat them, then they would end up enslaving the Titans and ending their bloodline. So he really didn't have a choice. But as it turned out, Zeus survived because Cronus couldn't digest him. Zeus was way too powerful for Cronus's stomach. And according to some accounts, Cronus tried to puke, but Zeus refused to leave until Cronus gave him back his siblings. So Cronus puked up the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, and then Zeus freed the other two guys. And now we have a problem. Cronus is the king of the cosmos, but he's also not the king of the cosmos, because Zeus has the sickle that Uranus had, which means that Cronus isn't really in charge anymore, except that he is, because Zeus is still living on Olympus, and he hasn't come down to start the war yet. So basically, they have a stalemate on their hands, and Zeus decides to break it by making a plan. So Zeus goes to Cronus and says, "Hey, want to go fight the giants? They're causing some problems." And Cronus was like, "Sure." And they went off to fight the giants together. And while they were fighting, Zeus whipped out his sickle and cut Cronus's balls off. And Cronus was like, "Wait, why do you do that? We're on the same team." And Zeus was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I am now the supreme ruler of the cosmos, and you are deposed." And then Zeus chopped off Cronus' S, and the blood from his severed neck flowed into the earth and produced a race of mortals. Now, depending on who you ask, Cronus either fell into the sea or he was chopped up into pieces. But either way, the war between the Olympians and the Titans was over. The Olympians won, and they took over the cosmos. However, this victory didn't come without sacrifice. During the war, the giants ambushed Zeus and knocked him unconscious. Then they brought him to Gaia, who raised him as her own. And when Zeus grew up, he rebelled against the Titans and smashed Gaia, killing her. Then he hung upside down from the sky for 9 nights, and that caused the rain. Also, maybe 4 of the 5 giants died. I forget. Anyway, the point is that it was expensive and hard-fought victory, and Cronus' defeat was a huge loss for the Titans because he was their greatest champion and their leader. I mean, he did depose his own father and lead the Titans to victory in the war against the atheists, so he was a pretty big deal. However, It should be noted that none of the surviving Titans were particularly powerful. They were kind of pathetic. Now, after Cronus was deposed, he retreated to the underworld, where he ruled over the dead. And it should be noted that this was long before Hades came around and made the whole realm of the dead thing more organized. So when Cronus was ruling the underworld, it was pretty much just a holding pen for souls waiting to be reincarnated. And since nobody wanted to go there, the job was easy. Cronus enjoyed his golden palace, his many wives and mistresses, and especially his wine. He partied a lot. And he did this for a very long time because he was immortal. He never died. He just kept on living in his little palace in the underworld. And that is the end of part 3. Stay tuned for part 4, where Hades comes and takes over the underworld. If you like this video, please leave us a like. If you love this video, please leave us a comment telling us what you love about it. And if you really love this video, consider supporting us on Patreon. See you later. Bye. What is this? What is happening? Why is it brown on the inside? Are we supposed to eat this? It looks like a brain. What? What does it do? What is happening?